Hi, and welcome back to the Stained Canvas. So today I am going to do a holiday painting. It's a Christmas scene, and we are going to be using black or Paynes Grey, if you have Paynes Grey, indigo blue, and white. It's just a three-colored painting, nothing too complicated. And we're going to start by making the top and the top corners black because it's nighttime scene. So our black is going to come and go pretty much a third of the way down. And then we're going to start bringing in the indigo into the black. We want to kind of blend it so it's not a straight line. And all I'm doing is the crisscross. I'm not doing fancy brush strokes. It's very impressionistic, like just bloop, bloop, bloop. I like seeing the different color brush strokes with this painting. It kind of makes it feel very painterly, very I don't know, textured. It's kind of a textured background. And we're just going to continue doing that to almost the bottom. We're just going to leave the bottom 2 inches, 3 inches white. So you can see I've made a nice little transition here. I keep the dark, I keep some of the black around the edges because those are going to be trees. So I'm not too worried about having my edges dark. I just kind of want the center of this big painting to be the blue, the darker blue indigo colors. So I'm just going to continue on. Before I do any of the tree parts, I want to lay in the stars in my sky because it's a nighttime scene. So I'm just flicking white paint with my paintbrush. You can use a toothbrush if you have one. You can use like a fan brush, just flicking your finger along a fan brush if you want. I just am using a round brush, and then I just tap it on my hand and I get way better coverage with the specks to signify stars. And then I'm just going to put some white on the bottom. So this is a winter scene. So this is going to be the snow. I'm not too worried about just having a plain old white bottom because I really want your eyes to be pulled up to the center tree. And you'll see what I mean. The center tree is going to be spotlighted, kind of brighter than the rest of the trees and pulled forward more. So I'm just laying in the bottom here. And then I'm going to go in and grab the dark. Now this is going to be a little stressful for you, but you're going to go over what you just did with your darkest color, which is going to be the black or the Paynes Grey, depending on what you'd like. And then you're just going to flesh out the shape of your tree. My tree is going to be dead center because I'm going to have trees behind it. And the trees behind it, you'll see in a moment, I'm just not even worrying about branches. I'm just laying in this triangular shape in the center here, kind of a fat, fluffy pine tree. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to go in the sides and I'm going to do the same thing for the side trees. Now you can use a flat brush, you can use a fan brush, any kind of brush you want. This part is just literally laying in the silhouettes of the trees. So I'm just going to continue on doing this. And I want the further trees to be smaller than my center tree. As I lay in trees and they go further along towards the edges, then I can bring them up higher because those edges are going to be essentially maybe kind of closer to me in the perspective zone. You'll see what I mean in one moment here. Just laying in the trees. And then now that you see I have all these trees, and on either side along the edge of my canvas, I have trees that are much taller. And those trees essentially are going to be very lighter color. They're not going to be as prominent as the front one. And this is going to make it seem like that tree is surrounded in a cove or in an open area. So I'm adding titanium white, just titanium white right now. I do mess up a little bit, and you'll see in a moment, my titanium white becomes too overpowered and too aggressive. and it kind of blops all together. Well, I'm just going to show you how to fix that. See right here, I've lost my darkness. So I don't really like it. I try wiping it off with paper towel. It doesn't work so very well. So then I decide I'm just going to go in and bring that dark in on top of the white. And that seems to have fixed my issue. Right now I'm trying to flush out the branches of this pine tree, trying to create depth in the tree and trying to make this tree the brightest tree in this whole entire painting. And you'll see on the one side, which is the left side, I go in with straight titanium white and on the top of it as well. And then I'll bring it all the way down with a titanium white. But once I start to get to the center of my tree and the right side of my tree, I actually tone down the white and start painting with a light gray color. This is because I want to show shadow. I want to show that light is shining just strictly on the one side of the tree, but the whole tree is being lit up as well. So you'll see here, you can see I've really distinguished where my branches are. And I'm going to go in with like a dirtier white because I want from the center to the one side of the tree to be less bright, just to show the dimension of the tree, to show that it's not one dimensional. The tree has shadow and shade, and there's light only touching the one side. So this is me with the light gray, and it seems it's fairly simple. I just take my fan brush and I'm just making sections, and I'm hoping my sections don't touch. I do find that I like my sections to be a little more detailed, so I go in again with the dark. But see, I even darken the gray even more on this side, and now you can really tell that the light is coming in from the left and shining directly onto the tree, and then you can just kind of see the right side of the tree lit up a little bit. So I'm just going to continue on here. And I'm going to bring in some of the darks because I feel like my whites are taking over a little too much, and I'd like to have a little more of a distinction between them. So I'm just going to finish with this tree, and then I will tell you how I do the trees in the back. Right here, I've messed up a little bit, but thankfully I could just wet it because my background's pretty much dry, and I can wipe up the little bit of a mess. So that's another wonderful thing about acrylics. Once they're dry, they're stuck there. But if you've made a little mistake, you have time to fix it. So this is where I'm coming in with the black, and I'm just trying to define the shadows, just make those darks darker in this tree here. I really like how this tree is turning out. So now what I want to do is for the background trees, I am only strictly doing white at the very top. When I come lower to the ground, I'm going to use some gray. So I want to show highlights, but the highlights are only going to be directly at the top. So it's as if there's light from the moon or stars or something is just strictly hitting the tops of the trees back here. And the rest of the trees end up being the gray because there's still reflective light off of the snow. So it's reflecting off the ground and shining back onto the bottoms of the trees. But that reflective light won't make it bright white. It'll become a gray color. So you see here, I'm fleshing out where I want my branches to be, and I'm still just using a fan brush. This part, you don't need to be super detailed because these trees are further away from you. So you can just insinuate gray shapes. You know, it's a gray area. There's a little bit of definition between the darker Paynes gray or black and the dark gray that you've mixed. But if you see here, really gives your back forest some depth, shows that white middle tree is apart from the rest of the trees, like it's in the middle of a meadow all by itself, or what have you, because it's single. So it's the only one getting the moonlight. Whereas all the other ones are bunched up and they are shading each other, and only the tips are really bright white. I'm also going in here because in a meadow, you'll have longer grasses, and the snow cover or the snowpack will make little bumps and some grass might come through, and it's not going to be a complete line. So over here is what I'm doing. I'm just scruffing up that little line a little bit with some gray, trying to make it less straight, more organic shapes, more organically, like an earth, more organic floor. And then I'm going to just keep going with all these trees. And remember, the further trees are not as close to you, so they will not be as detailed in dots, and the dots will be smaller and things will be a little less easy to see, but you'll be able to make out main values and main shapes. I'm just going to continue with that. And here you see I'm doing the furthest ones, and it's exactly the same concept. Very, very lightly grayed, not very bright, but you can still see that there's some value changes back there. And I'm just going to continue that for all of the trees. Even the ones on the far side, on the right side, they're going to get the same treatment. And I've actually lost the footage of that. So I will just do this and tell you I have done exactly the same thing. And the bright lights are going to be on the left side of these trees. They are not going to switch to the right side because there's light only coming from the one side. So you're going to continue with your lights being on the left side of each tree. And you're going to continue bringing the gray down into the bottom towards the earth. And you're just going to go careful with it. And again, it's really about value, and you don't have to be too persnickety, but make sure that you don't blend too much, because you do want to have that grays showing separate and off of the blacks. Scruffing up the grasses a little bit. And we're almost done. I hope you've enjoyed this. This is a really easy, fun project to do if you're interested in it. It's just 3 colors, basically a lot about perspective and shading, and it turns into quite a lovely little painting. You can actually do this painting in smaller size if you'd like to do it as a card, but it makes a really lovely, relaxing Christmas painting, holiday painting, winter landscape type of thing. And I'm just gonna finish up the rest of the side here, and that'll be it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about me, and I hope you guys have a fantastic holiday if I don't see you guys before Christmas. And bye for now.